Well, hello and welcome back to the Tao Manifesting Tarot, the most unusual tarot reading on the planet. I haven't seen anything like it ever before. This is intentional. This is not just happenstance. Didn't back into it. I've done tarot for over 20 years. In that 20 years, from my point of view, I've never seen tarot really predict anything. You might get little nibbles, but really nothing. At first, it got me kind of depressed. But over a period of time, paying some attention, I found out, well, guess what, dummy? Tarot, at least from your point of view, isn't meant to predict anything. In fact, I'm against the whole idea of prediction, and I'll tell you why in just a second. What tarot does is focus on your potential. You focus on your ability to manifest. Focus on your ability to create pictures inside your own imagination, not from some damn desktop, laptop, telephone, smartphone, or AI. You create the images within yourself. Now, that's getting difficult and more difficult and more difficult because we're being dumbed down. Just saw a story a couple of days ago. Can't remember what state. I think it was out east. But they were talking about how the numbers that they calculate in terms of education, how they're dropping, how kids are getting dumber. We do know from two studies out the beginning of this year that IQs have dropped anywhere between 6 and 9% over the past 5 to 10 years. That's huge. We're effectively getting dumber. Now, part of it is from the poisons and pollution in our environment. For example, you take the stuff that they spray in the sky that they deny, the chemtrails. Well, one of the things that they have in there are nanoparticles of aluminum. And these tiny, 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 tiny microscopic pieces of aluminum are horrendous. In fact, they've experimented on rats, mice, bees. And the devastating effects it has on the mind is amazing. You know that after a couple of weeks of being exposed to this nanoparticle kind of stuff that you would get in the clouds, bees cannot find the hives anymore. And you wonder why people are having neurological diseases. You wonder why their brains are messed up. Their heart, every part of their body is under attack. So that's part of it, but the other part is that we're addicted to this technology. It is an addiction, and it is comfortable enough. They sell it comfortably enough so that you go, well, I think I can go to ChatGPT or I can go to AI somehow and, hey, answer this question for me. No. Do your best to look up the information. It's that process. It's like cursive writing, the handwriting, not the printing, not the stuff that you type on a computer, but the actual handwriting is magnificent for manifesting. It's also very good because AI can't make heads or tails out of it. They can figure out your printing style. They can figure out, obviously, if you're typing. But the power that you have as a human being is phenomenal, and we're giving it all away. Not being aware of what that is ultimately doing to us. So, tarot enhances your ability to manifest, enhances the ability for you to create pictures inside your own head. It's kryptonite for you. Now, that's tarot, and again, I've done that for over 20 years. 50 years, I've done numerology and astrology. Those two things are cycles within cycles within cycles. It's the science of cycles. And to a limited degree, you can predict in the sense that you get a brand new baby, you can do a chart on them or a numerological layout on them, and you can see the peaks and valleys in their life, better times, tougher times. With astrology, you can take a look at their personality. Same thing to a degree with numerology. But I'm against the idea of people saying, predict. First of all, I don't think that's good for us. We need to take the journey because it's the journey that enlightens us. It's the journey that allows us to manifest our spiritual side. So the idea of predicting, totally against it. Knowing cycles, that's a different story. You know when the new moon is coming up. You know when the full moon is coming up. You know when the holidays at the end of the year are coming up. That's really not predicting, because it's not saying what your role will be in any of that stuff. You have to determine that as you're there. So the idea is to get you to get those muscles flexing. So today, the message is a new life. You can start again, but there's no shortcuts. Not now. We're out of those things. We're real close. I'm thinking 2027 and 2030, you're going to see something horrendous. It may be when men and machines are put together finally, and when that happens, say goodbye to humanity. Say goodbye to any job. Say goodbye to any meaning or purpose in your life. It's gone. It's done. That's the most we have, I think, till 2027, 2030. The 2040s are going to be fascinating if we survive, because I think we're going to really kick the ball down the road. But over the next few years, watch them throw. They're doing it right now. They're doing it right now. I mean, the government was elected on them accomplishing certain things. They haven't done any of that. And people are beginning to wake up. People are beginning to go, what's the bullshit that you're feeding me? What is this stuff? So the idea is you have a chance for a new life. In all of this mess, in all of this misery, in all of this madness, you can start again, but there are no shortcuts. You have to manifest, and to do that successfully, that's where we get to combining the tarot with numerology and astrology, so that the numerology and astrology give you the dinner table, the tarot gives you the meal. By the way, I want to take this part here as we kind of set things up. I got an email thing that I'm doing now so that you can contact me. I check it every day. I'm really been a pretty good boy at this, because usually I stink at it. But it's tau-tarot@proton.me. Tau-tarot@proton.me. I will be checking it every day and making any kinds of comments or conversation. Maybe just a yes, no. Might even be a maybe. Might even be the beginning of some sort of a conversation. But please feel free to contact me at the email address tau-tarot@proton.me. Alrighty, so we got that all set up, right? We got the point of the tarot reading. We have the tools the tarot uses, the numerology and astrology. Why don't we get to the astrology? Now, for the past several weeks, I've been focusing on something called the conquest of America. For a lot of people, that's painful, because they don't want to think that that's the way it's going on, but it is. And it's been going on, frankly, probably since the start of the Bank of England, back in the late 1500s, early 1600s. That's when the bankers in Europe, primarily Jews, picked up on an offer. King of England said, hey, you know what? I want to go to war. I don't have any money. Can you help me out? And they said, yeah, sure, we can help you out. No problem. We'll give you the money. Here's the deal. You give us the Bank of England. He says, there is no Bank of England. They say, oh, yes, there is. We are starting it. We want to use that name specifically, but you don't own it. You want to buy shares? You want to buy stock? Fine, that's great. But the Bank of England is ours. And that's when the conquest of the New World, or the colonies, began to take place. It was slow, it was tedious, bit by bit, but over time, they won the prize. 1913, the Federal Reserve. We're going to work our way up to that. But believe me, America won in the Revolution. That's just a battle. It looks like they lost the war. And so we're going to take a look at it, because next summer, July 4th, 2026 is the 250th anniversary of the United States of America. So it's a good way to kind of lead us in. The conquest of America, give you a new perspective, a true perspective on the history of America. We talked about how Adam Smith started the idea of capitalism. What it was usury, charging for loans, which every country, the church, everybody was against. They said it was terrible, but for the Jewish bankers, it was very good, and they got rich and controlled countries, which is why they got kicked out of over 200 countries 1,000 times. They took over the country. Well, what are they doing here? What do you see in the U.S. Congress here? They all line up, huh? America second, Israel first. They won. Let's see how they got there. So it was Adam Smith. He took usury, called it capitalism. Then we win the revolution. And that's when Hamilton and others began to really kind of corrupt the American system. They started Wall Street. They started the first bank of the United States. When it came to the second one, it was tougher. And when the second Bank of America lease ran out, it got really tough. We're just about at that spot. We're between 1825 and 1830 right now. And in America, they're kind of settling in, kind of growing up, if you will, maturing in a way. Because between 1825 and 1830, we saw the population explosion. European settlers moved west. They just moved like mass migration, legal or otherwise. Second thing, politics got more divided. We had this good feeling period after the Revolutionary War for several decades, and that's beginning to go away. The good feeling era ends. Politics gets more divided. Banking, slavery, states' rights. These are all issues that are percolating underneath, and they're going to lead us in a very tough direction. So the planetary aspects at this time, 1825 to 1830, were roughly Pluto, Uranus. They were together. Pluto, Uranus always pushes for change, and I mean pushes for change. Doesn't have to be good, just change. And then we have Jupiter and Neptune working together. That's the grand illusion, the big dream. So you put those four planets together, the push for change, the big dream. Well, America, I don't think still has woken up yet from that dream. So that's the way it stands in terms of astrologic, the astrology from 1825 to 1830. Let's go take a look at the tarot. Page of Swords is where we are right now. Pages always change the storyline. You're headed in one direction. You think, yeah, this is the way it's going to be. I got it. And then the page shows up and you make a hard right, hard left, whatever. It changes. And what they're doing now with this Page of Swords is saying, get ready to embrace new challenges. It's up to you what those challenges are going to be. Okay, they could be good, they could be bad, they could be taking away all of your human rights. I mean, my God, you can't even walk in a forest. And in Canada, they're going to fine you $150,000 for walking in a forest. We see what's going on here in the United States in terms of people stealing land. Los Angeles, people are coming in, all that stuff that was burned down, they're now trying to buy or finagle their way into getting the land for virtually nothing. Land grab. So, there are challenges, but the Page of Swords says you go in with truth, because swords are truth, they're data. You go in armed with the truth and be ready to embrace the new challenge. Next up, Ten of Wands. Now, normally Ten of Wands is putting a burden down. Wands are positivity, enthusiasm, joy, but they're also lots of energy. And at this point, you look at the card, this guy's putting down this group of 10 wands. Well, he's also taking on a challenge, taking the responsibility of the Page of Swords. Page of Swords says, okay, I'm going to get the information. I'm going to know what the hell I'm talking about. I'm going to get my head straight, and then I'm going to move in a different direction. I take that responsibility. That's a huge, huge step. Most people are not up to that, and that's why this nation is in the shithole it's in right now. Final card, Six of Wands. Again, wands, positivity, excitement, joy, enthusiasm. Six of Wands says something very, very basic, very simple. Fairness, positivity, joy. The Six of Wands carries with it a lot of weight, a lot of importance. The Six of Wands talks about victory. You can do this, but you got to do the homework. You pay attention. Page of Swords, get the information, get your thinking straight, then decide that you're going to move ahead, take on the responsibility, put down all that crap that you've been told, and move forward to victory. But remember, there's going to be a price. So just be aware. So with that, that's it for time. We're out. We're done. I thank you very much for being here. Every day you make it extra special good. Please like and subscribe. Very important, very vital to this whole project and any podcast, because things are getting really nasty on the internet. You don't see it. It's behind the scenes, but it's there. Between now and the next time you and I get together and do tarot stuff together, peace and blessings.